I wanted to let you guys know about a huge opportunity for the OMG podcast. Our next upcoming guest is AJ Styles. That's right, the phenomenal one. AJ Styles is our next guest on the OMG Wrestling podcast. If you do want to get in on any advertising opportunities, that's right, you can get your ad, your YouTube channel, any product that you have on our show, which will air in the upcoming week. We're going to be filming it this weekend. Go to advertise.tonypizzaguy.com. Link is in the description, and it is going to be a huge episode. If you are into getting yourself promoted, we still have a few slots left, so make sure you go to advertise.tonypizzaguy.com. Welcome everybody back to the OMG podcast. This is the Monday Night Raw Cap edition. I'm here with Ango Raw. So, yay or nay on Raw? What are your thoughts?
Definitely a yay, obviously.
All right, we'll get right into Raw in a minute. I do want to pimp out our sponsor. Our sponsor today is G Fuel. Now, if you have never tried G Fuel, well, that's where I come in because I'm going to save you 10% with the discount code TPG. You can follow the link in the description. G Fuel gives you that energy, focus, and endurance to get through long gaming sessions. I do want to pimp out our sponsor right away. And if you do want to be a sponsor for an upcoming episode, go to advertise.tonypizzaguy.com. But if you want to learn more about G Fuel, follow the link in the description. It is made for gamers. It's an energy drink that helps you through those long gaming sessions. I think one of the partners with the Gamma Gamers said Gamma Labs is liquid motivation. So there's that. Ango, Monday Night Raw, we have a lot to talk about. We have the Wyatts. We have the WWE Network, the WWE Network, the WWE Network, WWE Network, WWE Network. It was all over the show tonight. New Age Outlaws, Hall of Fame, all kinds of crazy stuff. Where do you want to start?
Where do I want to start? I mean, we could start with the biggest thing that happened, which was obviously the ending. But before we get to that, I'd rather talk about the New Age Outlaws and CM Punk because I think that is I think this is obviously a huge setup for a huge WrestleMania match before CM Punk. And I'm just gonna get right into it. I never really saw the money in between a match for like CM Punk against Triple H. But my brother made a really good point. And he was just talking about like the new era versus, like the Attitude Era kind of thing. And when you think of CM Punk and Triple H, obviously you're going to get some crazy promos from CM Punk. But just the story, having New Age Outlaws kind of, just not only go against CM Punk, but now on SmackDown they're going to have a tag team match. Like I think we're going to see a lot of classic shit.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's going to be into like this new style, like all PG or whatever. But like you even see it with Kane, right? Like Kane is still a badass and everything like that. And eventually something big should happen with him. And now New Age Outlaws, DX, Shawn Michaels, like you can definitely see like the mix of both eras being put into one.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it because when you see a guy like Billy Gunn, that dude looks like $1 million. He looks even better than he was before, and even the same with Goldust. Goldust is a guy that was there during the Attitude Era, and you can still have some of those guys from the Attitude Era that can still hang with the new generation right now. The what are they calling it? The PG era? I don't know what the official name is. Oh, the WWE Universe era. That's what we're in right now. But the New Age Outlaws, they teamed up with CM Punk tonight against the Shield. The crowd was not really into this. I don't know. The crowd was kind of up and down all night. They were kind of into the show, but then they weren't. But then at the end, they were really into the show. Yeah. But it was the same match they did on SmackDown, which I didn't actually catch that match. I don't know who went over on that one. Do you know?
From last SmackDown?
Yeah, because they did the Punk and New Age Outlaws versus Shield on SmackDown. I just wasn't sure.
I believe Punk won. Punk got the win, but I could totally be wrong.
Okay. So basically, Punk was getting beat up. He went for the tag. I think it was Billy Gunn or Road Dogg, one or the other, and they both jumped off the apron and left to the back. Punk tries to come back, but Roman Reigns hits him with the spear. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Then they triple powerbomb onto Punk. And then later in the night, we see Punk go up backstage and talk to Kane like, hey, what's the deal? What's going on? So they're setting up Punk versus Triple H at WrestleMania. I'm thinking that's what they're going for, which honestly, I think that match is going to be money.
You know, it's like going into WrestleMania, people always say it's like the best time to watch wrestling, but like right now, I feel like WWE is like pretty much just going with the hottest product, just in terms of stories and stuff like that. So like the way that I think of WrestleMania 30 now, right? Because obviously it's going to be a big one, and you got to imagine there's going to be some pretty big returns. Batista's most likely going to play a role. Hopefully Undertaker's there, John Cena, Randy Orton, and then to have Triple H and CM Punk go at it. I mean, it'd be a pretty damn big pay-per-view, and you're not going to see that many, mid-card guys unless they're, let's say in ladder match or something like that. But in terms of WrestleMania, you got to expect something pretty big. And I think this is one of those matches where it's kind of like Brock Lesnar and was it Brock Lesnar and Triple H last year? I think it was.
Yeah, yep.
And it was, in my personal opinion, I like that match. So it's like, I think this is one of those matches that some people won't understand right away. They won't understand everything until it actually happens. And I think it's going to possibly steal the show. And with that is something that's hard to do when you have guys like Undertaker and Randy Orton and Batista and John Cena and, just a pretty stacked card.
It's awesome because we're starting to build now, and I always like when they start to build really early and then they go into WrestleMania. So we still have a couple months. I think WrestleMania is in April this year. So we still have a good 4 months to go here, which is awesome. I love it. I love when we get build like that. It just makes me get ready for WrestleMania, and that's what they're doing here.
Yeah, and like you got to imagine too, like, New Age Outlaws, and you never know, maybe it's Kane or someone's going to go against CM Punk at one point, and then, maybe CM Punk's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Well, he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, but there's going to come across a point too where something to do with the Authority is going to screw CM Punk out of, main eventing or whatever. So whether it's CM Punk entering number one and getting all the way to the end and then getting eliminated, let's say by Triple H or something like that. I mean, there's so many ways they can do it. It's just going to be to the point of how they're going to do it and when it's going to happen. Because like you said, it's like 4 months away and stuff like that. So
the only thing I hope is that we don't see both the New Age Outlaws take 2 spots in the Rumble, because I like surprises when you get guys that come back for surprises, but taking away spots from like younger guys that should be in the Rumble. Like, I was going to say Zack Ryder. I was going to name drop him, but I don't actually think he should be in the Rumble based off his television appearances. But it'll be kind of, like you said, you'll probably see the New Age Outlaws and then in the Rumble at the same time as CM Punk or something like that, and that's how it's going to play out. Punk obviously not going to win the Rumble, but that's just the way that I see it going down.
Does he even need to win the Rumble though? Because like if you think about it, like, I mean, every year he's in high-profile matches. Last year, him and The Undertaker, in my opinion, put out the best match there was. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things, like, I don't even think he needs to win a Royal Rumble. If he really wants, and WWE really wants him to, like, even main event WrestleMania, they definitely don't need to do it by having him win the Royal Rumble. I think it's inevitable, though. I think eventually it'll happen. I don't know. I feel like it's not one of those things.
I feel like it's the only thing left in CM Punk's career is winning the Royal Rumble. He's done everything else. Won Money in the Bank twice, cashed in twice. Everything else, tag team champion, Intercontinental, ECW, WWE, World Heavyweight. All he has left is the Royal Rumble, really. And not this year. I don't see it going down. I don't know. It's tough to pick the Royal Rumble winner. I will get into that a little bit later. I do want to continue just a quick rundown of Raw for people that may not have seen it or they want to talk about it and give our thoughts. But Raw was kind of different. A lot of people didn't like Raw. I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying they hated the way Raw played out. Not the way that it ended, but the way that the whole show was. I know that I was looking at my Twitter feed and everybody was saying that, oh, this is boring, the crowd sucks, yawn, this Raw just isn't that good. But they did something that I always like, is when they told a story through the entire episode of Raw. Yeah. And they did it a couple times, to be honest, because they started out with the Wyatt promo. Then we had the Wyatts versus Usos. And then it ended up in a scuffle. So the Usos looked strong, but they didn't win because it was disqualification. And then what was cool was that Bray Wyatt told Daniel Bryan to get on his knees. He whispered something into his ear. Then hit him with the Sister Abigail, and then carried him to the back. So that was kind of cool, which played out till the end of Raw, which we'll get into in a little bit. But the other thing that carried on through Raw was we saw John Cena versus Sandow, which was awesome. And they even talked about his Money in the Bank contract stuff. And they touted this as one of the most anticipated rematches in WWE history. Your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, so I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't see this match, you know what I'm saying? But with Damian Sandow being one of those guys that I feel like, I mean, like, his time is coming in terms of WWE. Like, eventually it's going to happen. I think what WWE can do, especially with, like, a Royal Rumble match, like, you can have Damian Sandow be in that match, do something pretty cool, get eliminated or whatever, and he still won't look bad. Now, the only thing that WWE has to avoid is having Damian Sandow put on matches against guys like Justin Gabriel or something like that and get upset. So even if he loses a match against John Cena, he's still a credible person because, he's held Money in the Bank and stuff like that. And then obviously his promos and everything like that is pretty big deal. The whole time where he did like the uncrowned world heavyweight champion or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's always done things like that. And it's a reason for people to hate him. So it's like, was it the most anticipated rematch? Probably not. But at the end of the day, I'm sure a lot of people would have been interested in it.
No, it was definitely an awesome match. It was great. I always love when John Cena pulls out moves that we've never seen before. He did a half Nelson neck breaker type thing, like where he threw Sandow and like a half Nelson up and then neck breakered him. And that was really weird. He also did a tornado DDT off the top rope, so that was kind of crazy. And then during this match, there was a sign in the crowd that said "Sign Styles." So somebody wants AJ Styles in WWE.
Yeah, obviously WWE doesn't want it, though.
It was a STF rope break by Sandow. You thought Sandow was going to tap. Then Sandow put him in a crossface. John Cena reversed the crossface. He Super Cena up, carried him all the way up to his shoulders, and attitude adjustment. It was over. And Cena thanks his dad, which is the recurring theme of John Cena and Randy Orton's feud, even from a long time ago. John Cena's dad getting beat up, which does happen later in the night. We'll get into that one. We'll just skip to that because we have Randy Orton backstage looking for the Authority, but he can only find Kane. Kane tells him to take out his frustration on Kofi Kingston. So we got Orton versus Kofi, which was yawn. This match was so slow and so boring. And Orton gets a little frustrated. Kofi hits the SOS, ends up beating Randy Orton, which I thought was really, really odd. I don't know. I get what they're going for, that Orton's flustered or whatever because he's got all these people coming after him. He's got Batista, Brock, John Cena coming after him. But then Orton gets very upset, ends up punching John Cena's dad a couple times, and then John Cena's dad is rushed away to the hospital.
Yeah. I mean, Kofi Kingston has
good.
And it's definitely good. And Kofi Kingston has that potential to do something big. And I mean, honestly, getting that win against Randy Orton, this is one of those matches that I also didn't see, but getting a win against Randy Orton, regardless if it was a slow match or a fast-paced match and stuff like that, we're gonna see a different side of Kofi Kingston as a character. And with Randy Orton losing, it's a good thing because I mean he's still the champion, he still has the authority, and Kofi Kingston, I mean he kind of needs a good win to get his career going. And everybody remembers a good feud between Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton back in the day. So it's like, Kofi getting that win, like I said, it's a big deal. It's a good impression. And the fact that, a guy like Kofi can beat Randy Orton, I mean, even though this would be a really, really huge upset, but if a guy like Kofi can get that win, we shouldn't be surprised to see Randy Orton crack under pressure against other mid-tier guys.
Yeah, they definitely needed to get Kofi over. I know that you sent me this article. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Kofi Kingston getting a character change?
Yeah, so basically the big rumor is that Kofi Kingston's going to get a slight repackage with new music and kind of like a new character. However, it's going to be, it hasn't been decided, of course, if he's going to be a heel or face, but it'd be a little bit more of an aggressive Kofi Kingston instead of the really happy Kofi Kingston that everybody's used to. Which I'm cool with because I think Kofi Kingston really has like the ring ability and everything like that. He knows how to do good spots, and he's had good feuds. Like I said, that feud with Randy Orton was a pretty good one. So it's like, if this is like the first step for WWE to give him a huge chance in in the company and stuff like that, I guarantee you we're going to see a Kofi Kingston championship run. And I know a lot of people don't think this could happen, but I think eventually Kofi Kingston can get into the main event. He just needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah. And starting out with the win over Randy Orton, again, it wasn't a huge win for him because I don't know. He's just been floating around on the pay-per-view pre-show, the kickoff show, and hasn't really done anything. So if they're going to go with his character change, having him going over Randy Orton is awesome. And then it just makes Orton even more pissed off, beats up John Cena's dad, and then Cena and his dad right off in the hospital, in the sunset or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things I want to just mention here with Raw. They weren't that entertaining. We saw Tamina and AJ versus the Funkadactyls. AJ won with the Shining Wizard. Nothing too exciting there. We also got to see a Paul Heyman promo. Typical Paul Heyman. It's always good. The Rhodes brothers versus Ryback. We got Crossroads onto Axel for the win. Curtis Axel. And then Ryback apparently hurt his eye or something. And he tweeted a picture out. It looks disgusting. I don't know if you saw that picture, but
I saw that picture. He's just been such a good troll, though.
yeah, he came out. He actually came out when he came out. He was doing like the keyboard thing with his fingers, and it was amazing. If you're not following Ryback on Twitter, you have to do it now because he's one of those guys that's a fan of tweet and delete, which I didn't even know this was a thing where guys just tweet and then they end up deleting it afterward. I don't know. I never heard of that. Have you?
I have heard of it at one point, but I didn't think it was actually anything big.
So make sure you follow at Ryback22 on Twitter right now because he's the most amazing thing ever. His tweets are so hilarious and everything he tweets. I think over the weekend he was tweeting about him getting fired, or he said he was released, but then he came back and said, no, I'm just released from the police officers. I don't even know what he was saying. He was just going ham all weekend.
I think the greatest thing that Ryback did, and this was a while back, but aside from him changing his Twitter name right now to Ryan Reeves, I thought the funniest thing was before he tweeted something about Goldberg. Because, like, I forgot what he said, but he's like, I'm bald and I look like Goldberg or something like that. And it was just, like, something really simple like that. And, like, it had, like, 100,000 retweets or some shit. Like,
wow.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, like, he knows how to feed into the internet because, like, there was other tweets that he had recently about sandbagging or getting sandbagged by Tenzai and stuff. So it's like, he obviously reads the internet. He knows what people are saying about him. He knows the whole Goldberg phenomenon, and he plays that to his advantage, being active on Twitter and stuff. And some people probably don't like it. Some people think Ryback's a fail, but at the end of the day, if he's able to be a little bit more personable through Twitter, and like people can dig his personality and get a good laugh out of it, I mean, things will happen.
Yeah, he is so funny on Twitter. So make sure you follow him. Maybe we'll get him on the show. You know how amazing that would be to get Ryback on the show to have him talk about his Twitter and all that stuff. Maybe.
Well, you know what people have to do if they want to see these kind of interviews. They have to be very active on Twitter and make sure they use that hashtag OMG podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make that happen in the future. But now, oh yeah, we're talking finish Raw. We got that Crossroads on the Axel. Rhodes brothers win, whatever. We knew that was going to happen. Then we get Ray versus Del Rio, which I thought was kind of a weird match. I didn't really want to see them wrestle. There was a weird thing here where the camera went fuzzy during Ray's entrance. I don't know. So they quickly switched camera angles. I thought that was kind of odd. There was a cool little ending, though. Ray did a 619 kick. Then he went to the top rope. Del Rio crotched the rope. And then he delivered that super kick to Ray. That little shuffle side kick that he does to people. Ray fell off the top rope. Arm breaker. Ray screams like a little girl, and Del Rio goes over. Then we get more WWE Network, WWE Network, WWE Network, WWE Network. Because I feel like we're going to get sick of the WWE Network before it even comes out.
No, they're doing everything that we don't want to happen, but that's how you get the message across, you know? And with the WWE Network, I actually think it's pretty cool how they're doing like the whole countdown thing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's getting me hyped for it. One funny commentary thing, I don't know when this happened, but Jerry Lawler was talking about AWA and stuff, and then he's like, hey, JBL, you never went to AWA? And JBL was like, yeah, that's because King was booking it, and I didn't want to lose or something like that. It was really weird. It was really like smarky comment about, I don't know. It was just really entertaining, though.
I love commentary, man.
And then we get to our main event, which is a steel cage match: Usos versus Bray Wyatt. There was a lot of really weird things going on. So before the match even started, the Usos, did you catch this? Because you saw this match, right?
Okay, wait. Repeat that. Hold on.
Right when the main event, before the main event started,
Yeah.
the Usos did that like face to face, like side by side
Yes.
thing. That was really, I thought that was really weird.
No, dude, I thought it was weird at first, but then when I sat there and watched it, like I just kept thinking about like how the Usos, like even though they're not the most prominent thing in the storyline between Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt and everything like that, they're doing a lot of things that have helped the storyline progress. So it's like when they had that, like you can tell like they're trying to get them a little bit more noticeable and stuff like that. They're giving them, especially with the face paint and the entrance and the pyro and stuff like that, the commentary. It seems like WWE is really pimping them out, which I was cool with. I mean, at first I thought it was kind of weird and stuff like that, but at the same time too, they're a tag team. They got their face paint. They're a true tag team. They're not single wrestlers being put together. So I feel like to make it seem a little bit more credible, and I'll get into it more when we talk about the main event, but when they actually got into that match and they won that match, I mean, they looked like a legitimate tag team. And I kept telling my brother this, but I felt like seeing a cage match with the Usos and Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt finish off Raw, I felt like it was really reminiscent of like maybe the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. For whatever reason, I felt like it was like that big in terms of the hype and the crowd reaction and everything. So
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. It's kind of like the Hardys in this sense where they're a true tag team, not singles wrestlers put together. So I like the Usos. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
This cage match was fun. The crowd was kind of dead. It was kind of, I don't know. The crowd, like I said, the crowd was on and off all night.
Yeah.
At the end, we saw, I forgot which Uso it was, kicked Daniel Bryan off the top.
Yeah.
Off the top rope into Bray Wyatt, where he got crouched on the rope, and then the Usos went over. One of them dived to the outside. The other one made it to the outside. And then we had one of the most amazing things ever because Bray Wyatt goes for the Sister Abigail again onto Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan pushes him away, and the crowd goes nuts. This was probably the loudest I think I've ever heard the crowd go for Daniel Bryan. Will you have to agree with me on that one?
Oh, there's no questioning it. Like if you think about it, and this is coming from a person who's gone to a pay-per-view and stuff. When I went to Night of Champions, the whole Daniel Bryan yes chant was crazy, especially when you see it in a freaking stadium and everything like that, dude. Like that stuff is amazing. It's a good view. But when you're watching this on TV and every camera angle has a person standing up screaming yes, there's no doubt about it. It's insane.
Yeah, it was. They went nuts. Then. What does he call that move? That running train into the corner where he goes for the splash. Yeah. I forgot what he calls that. Husky Harris used to do it. I forgot what it was called when he did it. But he went for that. Daniel Bryan moved out of the way, and then Daniel Bryan delivered those yes kicks. And then he took off the jacket, and he had his Daniel Bryan gear underneath it, and the crowd lit up again. It was so amazing. He did the yes. Delivered the knee, got on the top of the cage, and did the yes, and that's how the show ended. And then we have Jim Ross coming out on Twitter saying a viable argument can be made that Daniel Bryan is the hottest talent in WWE by far. And I will have to agree. Daniel Bryan is the hottest thing ever. At first, I wasn't sure how the crowd felt about it all night, but then at the very, very end, they did that storytelling where Daniel Bryan turned, and it was awesome. Some people might think this is a Vince Russo swerve where they do a turn just to do a turn. I know CM Pulse said that, and I always quote Pulse, but he has a really large voice on Twitter when he talks about wrestling. But honestly, I thought it was awesome. I think it's great. I always think it's awesome when they start with a story and they end with the story. They start at the beginning of Raw and then the end, they finish it off. So it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, well, like the way that I see it, and this is what I'm really digging about this steel cage match is, like, if you look at it from a tag team perspective, Usos are obviously going to be the tag team that goes far. You could even say Eric Rowan and Luke Harper can definitely make a name for themselves in the tag team division, being tag team champs. They did it in NXT. And then if you look at it from the perspective of Bray Wyatt, considerably has to be the number 2 heel in WWE right now, being that Randy Orton's number 1. And then you have to have Daniel Bryan as the obvious face of the company, top baby face. So it's like when you look at the dynamic of having 4 guys in the ring and then 2 guys, outside and stuff, when Daniel Bryan went outside of the ring. I'm sorry, when Daniel Bryan went inside of the ring and did all the yes kicks and everything like that, you can really see progression, not through just the storyline, right, where he went bad and now he's good and it really happened fast, but you see that Daniel Bryan is not going to be, just being walked all over and stuff like that. He's not going to be not used and stuff like that. He's not getting buried. For whatever reason, anytime someone thinks that Daniel Bryan's career is in jeopardy, he comes out and it's proven that he does something better. And I don't know. I feel like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, like there's so many opportunities to take both of these guys and take them really, really far and take advantage. I feel like Bray Wyatt can be a really big top guy, and it's going to be thanks to Daniel Bryan. And I feel like Daniel Bryan's going to be a bigger face than he already is simply because of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, exactly. The way that I see it is this ending to Raw. Whoever's writing the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt stuff deserves $1 million. He deserves a pay raise. He deserves a WWE job for life because this is some of the most groundbreaking stuff ever. This is probably the first time that I can remember in a long time where the main event put everybody involved in the main event looked stronger after that main event. The Usos got the win, so they look stronger. Daniel Bryan did the turn, so he looked stronger. And then Bray Wyatt got beat up by Daniel Bryan, so it makes him even stronger as a heel. So everybody comes out. It's a win-win situation. Like you said, Bray Wyatt's stronger because of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's stronger because of Bray Wyatt. And this is probably one of the greatest wrestling feuds we've seen in a long time. This is probably one of my favorite wrestling feuds in the last 10 years, I'll have to say. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with more WWE Monday Night Raw talk.
There's a drink out there that keeps me energized.
It's an energy drink, and it wakes me up in a huge way.
I use it almost every day, especially when I play Xbox. If I want to get more focus and enhance my playing abilities, it really helps me get more into the game.
It definitely gives you energy, it gives you focus. You're gonna feel in the zone. Probably one of the best energy, focus products for gamers out there right now.
It really does taste great. It really gives you energy.
I think that one's my favorite.
It's that simple. You shake it up, you got your drink for the day.
I always have Gamma before I start playing COD or when I wake up. It just gives me so much energy.
I have a lot of different things going on in my life that require time, energy, and focus. What the hell am I going to do? G Fuel!
I got my drink, I got my 2K.
It's really good, by the way.
This product right here, so good.
Gamma Labs.
G Fuel Mission Gunship.
I'm telling you now, you want to get up on it.
It's an energy drink. It gives you energy.
Yo, this is Aubrey Sitterson, and you are listening to the OMG Wrestling Podcast.
So yeah, I gotta pretty much agree. I feel like right now, especially in this universe era, you're seeing a lot of stuff that could have probably been a very popular storyline in the Attitude Era, maybe even before that, because the story, it's more than just wrestling, which is pretty interesting because you have Daniel Bryan, you have guys like the Usos, Bray Wyatt, all these guys have good in-ring ability, but it's the story that they're telling, and you pretty much said it right. Everybody benefited from this main event, which is always nice to hear. Usos, once again, like I said, they're a true credible tag team, and even Luke Harper getting that, I think Jay Uso did it, but he hit him after, he escaped the cage or whatever, so it's just having moments like that where those two, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, weren't even involved in the match itself, but they still got involved in the storyline, and they're still involved in the main event. And then you have Bray Wyatt, once again, being a huge star the way he is. Everybody was expecting Daniel Bryan to just cave in and give him a hug and just get hit with the Sister Abigail again. And once it was shown that he wasn't going to do that, it was a very, very big deal. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this main event was the best closing Raw, which is pretty surprising because the way they closed Raw was a steel cage tag team match, and I feel like I haven't seen that in forever. Usually it's, a no DQ or maybe, like a John Cena versus Randy Orton and someone gets involved and continues a storyline to get to a pay-per-view or something like that. And this is one where we saw a clean finish. We've seen not only Daniel Bryan turn, but we also seen, like you said, everybody benefit from it. So it wasn't like there was anything done poorly in the match. There was one spot that the Usos, I forgot which one it was, but Bray was going to hit the Sister Abigail, and then Jimmy or Jay hit the super kick. And it was just like there was things like that where, they got on the turnbuckle and did the backward suplex to Daniel Bryan. Like, there was not only a lot of spots, but like I said, I mean, you could really see the story, and especially with the crowd not really being involved until the end, it was just, I don't know, I felt like the way it ended, there's so many endless possibilities, and whether or not it's a tag team feud between the Usos and the Wyatt family, and then Bray versus Daniel Bryan, or maybe let's say next Raw we have a 6-man tag, Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt and his family, and Usos are involved as well. I mean, there's so many endless possibilities. A lot of good things will come out of it.
Yeah, they do a great job at catching our attention and keeping us tuning into Raw, because every time I end a Daniel Bryan match, because I think they got to give Daniel Bryan credit, because he's closed out a number of Raws this year, and he's looked really, really strong at the end of all these Raws. And it's credibility that goes to Daniel Bryan, because the crowd lights up every time he comes out. And it just keeps me tuning in, because you want to see what's going to happen with Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Usos and Daniel versus the Wyatts at some point, like you said. But there's just going to be a lot of possibilities with this, and I don't know if this is going to lead to a huge match coming up at Mania. Even if they let this go on till Mania for a singles match between Bray and Daniel Bryan, I think that would be great too. I mean, I'd love to see Daniel Bryan in the title picture, but if they build this, they keep building it the way they're going to do it, I would love to see it with Daniel Bryan go over Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and like that's another thing I was going to say too with Daniel Bryan. There's so many things that people have been in question about for his WrestleMania, because there was a lot of people predicting that he would win the Rumble, which even at this point I could see very possible. But we saw the whole thing with Shawn Michaels, which is another huge possibility. And then we see this with Bray Wyatt. So it's like there's so many possibilities with Daniel Bryan that, honestly, I think he's so occupied with bigger and better storylines. It's actually a good thing he's not champion, because when he is going to be a champion, he will be shoved down our throats, and I think some people will get sick of that. So I think having this huge storyline of being the guy that's chasing greatness instead of the guy that already has it, kind of like the whole Randy Orton thing, I think it gives us, interesting stories, and that's why I'm so intrigued, because even with a guy like Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, at first I initially thought that they would be winning all their matches, and the fact that they're losing, I mean, it was just one of those things, maybe Daniel Bryan's going to get hit with the Sister Abigail. And then this was the one time where, as he was about to do it, he pushed away, and the fans were really behind him.
Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know. Some people think I'd say it was too soon for him to turn already, but I don't know. I think the timing is right. I think they're doing everything that they can possibly at the right time with Daniel Bryan. They're keeping things interesting without letting it get stale, because we do have the Royal Rumble going on, so both of them could be in the Rumble. We do have the Chamber, so they could both be in the Chamber. So even waiting till Mania to have a huge singles match between them two wouldn't be drawn out too long, because, like I said, we still have those big matches going on.
Yeah, and another thing that I do want to add, and then I'll just end it on that note, but with Daniel Bryan, he could go into WrestleMania with, honestly, he could go into WrestleMania with a huge losing streak, and maybe he's stuck with Bray Wyatt, because initially I thought he was just going to be kind of like Bray's bitch.
Yeah.
And if you want, you could beep that out, but like I honestly felt like that was going to be what's going to happen, and then WrestleMania would be his big moment, where he was going to finally win, and then he's finally done it all. He's overcome the odds and everything like that. And then at another point, I also thought that Bray Wyatt because he's like a cult leader type character. I felt like maybe he would be the one turning face and help Daniel Bryan get to that point where he can win the WWE Championship. Because, why would a cult want to listen to another type of leader, which would be the Authority? So I always felt like there were so many possibilities that like it didn't even matter. Heel or face, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, they're going to do a lot of things that a lot of people aren't expecting. And you already got to look at Bray's, career so far in the WWE. Nothing big really happened. Like the whole Kane thing happened for 1 minute and that kind of stopped. And then it went to, a couple tag team matches here and there. But this was the first big thing to happen for Bray's career. And this is in my opinion, I think this is probably the biggest thing that happened for Daniel Bryan's career right now. I mean, obviously, the whole WrestleMania thing, winning in 18 seconds or whatever it was, or losing in 18 seconds, like that was pretty big. But the fact that right now he is kind of that guy that, like I said, he doesn't need to win the Rumble, he doesn't have to have the title, and he is still proven to be the biggest star right now.
Yeah, exactly. Bray Wyatt will be a future main eventer. I see that happening, but you got a slow burn. I mean, like this Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt's the most intriguing television we have right now. So I like the way they're running with it. I think they can keep it going for a while. Hopefully they go head to head at Mania, and then these two go off in their own direction, and we get something good out of them. Maybe we'll get the Wyatt family costing Bray Wyatt the match, and then Bray Wyatt will turn on him or something like that, because that would be intriguing as well. And then even Bray Wyatt could go after other people. I even thought that maybe they could get CM Punk in there or something. I don't know how that would go out, but it's just a thought. There's lots of possibilities going on there. But as far as Raw, I'll say this Raw was good. I love the ending of Raw. Honestly, I'd give it a thumbs up just based off the ending. The crowd went nuts, and I loved it. And I thought, man, this is great. Anytime I see Daniel Bryan do something awesome and the crowd goes nuts, I have to mark out for it.
Well, yeah, and even though I missed a little bit of Raw, which was not a big deal because thankfully I have Hulu Plus, and when I do miss moments like this, I will be able to check out the WWE Network. But it's one of those things like, I don't know, like I feel like from what I've seen, which was about half of the episode, a little bit more than half, I feel like every moment on the show has progressed and will continue to progress. It's not just like one thing happened and things have kind of backtracked. I feel like everything is going forward, which is a really, really big thing. And I think it's the common pattern right now with WWE is that they keep progressing. They continuously progress to the point where you're going to notice the outcomes and things are going to be a little bit different. Things are a little bit less predictable. There's always going to be that one person on Twitter that's like, oh, I predicted this and I did this and I said this and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, who really saw Daniel Bryan turning on today's episode? I didn't. I was expecting the same thing that's happened before with Daniel Bryan just getting hit with his sister Abigail. And this would feed into the WWE universe wanting to see Daniel Bryan finally break away. And the fact that it happened today is a big deal. The fact that we have Alberto Del Rio not only winning against Rey Mysterio, but also cutting a post-match promo for Batista. Every story has a bigger story, and it continuously progresses into that bigger story. So regardless of what people think, I feel like this is that one episode where things will finally start connecting the dots and we're going to get into that WrestleMania mode. And I think we're going to see so much more. And I think that's the best part about WWE right now. They're not backtracking. They're not losing focus on these storylines. And it obviously showed that today with Daniel Bryan, he is still part of their plans. And it's obvious that the fans love him and that's not going to change.
Exactly. And the one thing that I hate is when people say that, like, this happened a lot last year, and people are like, they're burying Daniel Bryan. How are they making him lose? They're burying him. But I'm actually going to send you an image here. This is the win record of all the WWE superstars of 2013. And I don't know if you're looking at it right now, but it is very entertaining because Daniel Bryan is at the top with the most wins of the year with 211 wins. That doesn't even count the December. But it's just amazing when you think about it because people say, oh, they're burying Daniel Bryan by having him lose to Randy Orton. No, they're not burying him. They have to make him an underdog. They have to make him this underdog story where now we're finally going to see Daniel Bryan get to the top again, and it's just starting to work out. This is a very interesting thing, though. I'll post a link in the description if you want to check it out. But, yeah, any thoughts on this list so far?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And I think one of the most impressive things, too, is when you do look at the list, you look at your top 10 guys, and it pretty much just shows the future of the WWE right there. You know, it has Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Del Rio, Ryback, Cesaro, Sandow, Ziggler, Rhodes. Like, I don't know what it is, man, but when I see the list and like the first 10 people on that list, you can just see the future in WWE. And like I said, it's always going to go back to NXT and what they do, but the Shield was a big thing coming into WWE, and it's shown that WWE can really mold their own stars. And now you see it, you know, with Daniel Bryan, and you see it with Bray Wyatt. So at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan's not getting buried. I never thought he was. At one point, I actually kind of got sick of Daniel Bryan just a little bit because I felt like, oh, he kept getting screwed. And it was like over and over again. I seen it live when it happened. He won, and the next day, you know, like I felt like WWE never gave him that opportunity. But at the end of the day, him losing every time, him getting screwed every time, has just shown that WWE actually cares about him, and that every loss will eventually end up to a huge outcome, which would be the crowd being behind him, which I think will happen at WrestleMania 30. The WrestleMania 30 moment will be the yes chance with every person standing up screaming for Daniel Bryan.
I agree. And this thing right here, this list is pretty funny because CM Punk only had 95 wins the entire year. That's not a good record. Drew McIntyre had more wins than CM Punk. That's ridiculous. CM Punk did not have a good year last year. And it shows because CM Punk got kind of stale last year where Daniel Bryan shot to the top. And honestly, when you look at it on paper, I thought that Daniel Bryan was never going to succeed in the WWE. I'm sorry, but that's just my thoughts when I first saw it. So, but Daniel Bryan has succeeded and passed my expectations in the WWE.
Yeah, and I mean, one last thing I do want to say too is because he definitely exceeded my expectations, but I think that is the biggest thing right now about WWE's product is they want us to think differently, and maybe it's the future direction with Triple H and stuff like that. But let's be honest, most of the people, especially considerably like YouTube and stuff like that, we all read rumors and stuff like that, so we're very predictive on what's going to happen and stuff like that. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. But I love being able to say, like, hey, I really expected this, and then WWE just completely changed my mind and shifted my mindset because, I mean, I want to be that person that's like, oh, yeah, I predicted that. You know, I predicted that. But at the same time, too, what I really enjoy is being like, I can't believe WWE just messed with my mind and made me think this was going to happen when that was obviously not going to happen. So things like that is always pretty cool.
Yeah, and the last thing regarding Monday Night Raw that I do want to talk about here is the Ultimate Warrior being inducted into the Hall of Fame 2014. Before I do that, I'm going to send you this GIF that I found that Ryback just tweeted out. It's him doing the tweet, and delete. It's hilarious. I'll post it in the description as well. I'll probably put it on the screen, to be honest with you, just so you can check it out. It's one of the most hilarious GIFs ever. I don't know if you're checking it out now, but Ryback is awesome, and I don't know. I can't say any more good things about Ryback. Follow him on Twitter. Let's talk about this. Ultimate Warrior being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 2014. I feel that, you know what? I'm just thinking back to the WWE, and they made that self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, and they pretty much buried him. I don't know if you ever saw that DVD, did you?
I did.
It was hilarious. Every guy was making fun of the Ultimate Warrior, and now they're putting him in the Hall of Fame. This is kind of weird because I feel like, and I don't want to say this, I feel like the WWE Hall of Fame has become a thing where they know they have to do it every year, and they don't know who to get, so they're like just asking everybody that they can get to be in the Hall of Fame, because I think some people turn it down, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on Warrior being in the Hall of Fame?
I'm going to honestly actually say that I disagree with you for once, mainly for a couple of reasons. And with the Hall of Fame, I feel like there's a certain amount of people that should be involved, and I think Ultimate Warrior was one of those guys. I mean, regardless of like career success and stuff like that, his face paint, his entrance, rumbling on the ropes, that's what made him noticeable. You know what I'm saying? Like that is why people know him. That's why people remember him. They made that DVD. WWE hasn't really featured him ever on programming, stuff like that. Never ever heard references to Ultimate Warrior. And then all of a sudden, 2013, WWE 2K14 comes out with Ultimate Warrior kind of being the big deal, you know, the pre-order bonus and everything like that. And when that happened, that was something that I said, I really expect more to come out of this. And maybe it was very predictable that we would see Ultimate Warrior sometime end up in WWE programming, but at the end of the day, with Hall of Fame, it doesn't matter about his success and what WWE has done. For a lot of people who have watched wrestling and remember guys like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, a lot of people will also say that they do remember Ultimate Warrior, and that's why he has to be there. And on the bright side, I don't know if this will happen. It's one of those things I keep saying, you know, Scott Hall would definitely be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. But if there's going to be one time where we can see Ultimate Warrior, you know, go all the way around the ring and rumble the ropes, it would be a Royal Rumble entrance. You know, just being entered in. Yeah, maybe he's not supposed to be wrestling at this age and everything like that, but just to see it one last time and make a big deal out of him joining the Hall of Fame, I think it'd be pretty damn legit.
It would be cool to see him come back in the ring and shake the ropes one more time. I don't think we're going to see it, though, but we do know Warrior in the Hall of Fame. It's going to be cool to see him. I always liked the Warrior. He was on the WWE 2K14 video game, so I think they struck a really good relationship in the last couple of years, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a couple people that I have to also assume that are going to be in the Hall of Fame. You can also give me some names that I may not have. Some picks here. Got to go with Paul Bearer since he passed away. Jake the Snake Roberts based off of his return. Randy Savage. I would always love to see Randy Savage be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's not in it yet. I think he deserves to be in it way more than the Ultimate Warrior does, but that's just my opinion. And then even Scott Hall and even Kevin Nash, if you want to put them in together. But you can get the whole accountability crew, the whole Jake Roberts, DDP, and Scott Hall in at the same time. And then I don't know about females, but I think Lita maybe, Hall of Fame. I don't think she's in it yet. That's the last one that I would say. As far as that, I don't have any other names for this year, but I think Paul Bear's a shoo-in, Jake Roberts as well, and maybe Scott Hall, maybe Randy Savage, but I don't know. Any thoughts?
I agree with pretty much all of the names you've listed. You know, I would actually, and this probably would never happen, but I would love to see kind of like the whole NWO being inducted together. I mean, obviously Hulk Hogan has already been inducted and everything, but it'd be really cool to see maybe NWO all together for, you know, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they did it with that just makes me think. They did it with the Four Horsemen. Flair was inducted by himself, and then the Four Horsemen, so he has two rings. You made a good point, the NWO. I also thought, what about, since New Age Outlaws are back, what about DX being inducted into the Hall of Fame? All of DX.
And that's been a really interesting one. And then another thing, because you did mention Paul Bear, but one that I would really, really like to see, if it's Paul Bear, I would like to see Undertaker being inducted with him, as well as Kane. But I can't think of his name. I think he was like, I forgot what his name was in WWE, but he went to TNA, Bruce Pritchard, I think.
Oh, yeah,
he was, what did he do? He managed Undertaker a long time ago or something like that. Like, he was very involved with those storylines. It's not really clicking in my head for whatever reason.
Brother Love or
Brother
whatever?
Love,
yeah, that's Brother his name.
Love. Yep, so it's like, I think like they should be all inducted together. I would love to see WWE kind of do that theme where it's like more so of like people that were together instead of just like, hey, we're going to induct this person and this person and this person and just randomly, you know what I'm saying? In terms of divas, Lita is definitely one. Maybe this is far-fetched, but even like Stacy Keibler in a sense, because a lot of people have always said that in terms of women's wrestling and modeling, because she obviously wasn't a wrestler first, she kind of set the bar in terms of storylines and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know 100% if I agree with that, but you know, being in WCW and stuff like that and managing the Dudley Boys and stuff like that, I mean, I'd probably throw in the mix. And then if there's maybe anyone else, Scott Hall, DDP, I mean, those guys for sure. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much you're spot on. If anything, I would do it based on groups, though, instead of, like, individual. So, like, for example, yeah, like just one random person, another random person, and stuff like that.
You could put the NWO in. I'm just thinking about the video game for W2K14, who was in that. And now that I think about it, You could have the NWO be inducted and DX at the same time. How cool would that be? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like that'd be like the coolest thing too, because in terms of like the ceremony, right? Like it would always be cool to see DX go face to face with NWO.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. And then also with the video game, Bruno Sammartino, I think he's already in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe he just got inducted.
I gotta look this up. I can't even remember this Hall of Fame. Bruno, I think he got inducted. Did he get inducted last year?
That's what I feel like.
That was a couple. When was this? Oh yeah, he got inducted last year. Okay.
Yeah.
He did that. Dusty Rhodes wasn't Dusty Rhodes? I can't remember any of these Hall of Fame inductees. Was Dusty Rhodes inducted?
I feel like they always introduce him as WWE Hall of Famer.
I know he was.
I could be wrong.
They could consider him WCW Hall of Fame, but is he in the WWE? He's got to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. 2009 he was. Okay. And then Rick Rude. There's another guy that could be in the Hall of Fame. He was in the video game.
Yep.
He hasn't been inducted yet. I know that for a fact. So Rick Rude would be an awesome one. And Jake Roberts is the last one for the video game as we're going to go. And then Virgil. You want to put him in the Hall of Fame? No, I wouldn't actually put Virgil in the Hall of Fame.
Who's that? No, I'm just kidding.
He's the guy that always sits around for autographs.
Oh, yeah. Lonely Virgil.
And then a couple other people. I'm just looking Bleacher Report on their thoughts about the Hall of Fame. Bleacher Report says Demolition, Smash and Crush and Axe, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and the Brooklyn Brawler. There's another one that hasn't been inducted yet.
If I did in Hall of Fame, I would actually do like a tag team Hall of Fame, like the Demolition and like maybe Hardy Brothers and Dudley's. Like I feel like that'd be one legit Hall of Fame because you have pretty much everybody who revolutionized tag team wrestling.
That would be awesome. I would love to see a tag team Hall of Fame. You could put the Outsiders, and then DX could be in it, and the New Age Outlaws could be in it. Oh, that would be amazing. I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys get inducted to the Hall of Fame too. Even Edge and Christian as a tag team. Yep. It's just weird to see like what's going to be the future Hall of Fame. Like in years down the road, will we see like the Usos in the Hall of Fame, and like we'll see Randy Orton in the Hall of Fame and John Cena, because those Randy Orton and John Cena are shoo-in for the Hall of Fame sometime. I'm interested to know when Triple H is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, because he's already pretty much done wrestling besides like a couple matches here or there. But it'll be interesting to see when Triple H gets inducted, because it's inevitable that he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, even Batista's another guy you could throw in there, especially now that he's making his return.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like guys besides the ones that we listed for this year's Hall of Fame, but the main guy on my list is Randy Savage. I've always wanted Randy Savage to be in the Hall of Fame. They could even do Randy Savage and Elizabeth at the same time to be in the Hall of Fame together. I think that would be great. They were awesome together. If you had to pick one guy that you want to see in the Hall of Fame, who would it be?
Excuse me. One guy would definitely be Jake the Snake. No doubt about it.
That would be awesome to see Jake Roberts, because when I saw him on Raw, on Old School Raw, and he came back, I was going nuts for that. That was the most ridiculous thing. And then you had the smile coming off of Dean Ambrose. That was just classic right there. And Jake Roberts looked like $1 million. So I think they're going to save Jake Roberts till a little bit later. Hopefully he comes in the Rumble and then they announce it like the week after, like he came back, he did the Rumble thing, and then he's now in the Hall of Fame. That would be amazing.
If there's a guy who deserves it, he definitely deserves it. And then even Scott Hall's another guy, but I'd wait on Scott Hall because I would love to see NWO versus DX Hall of Fame. Like it would just be the greatest. The promos, the packages, like when they always prepare for a Hall of Fame announcement and stuff like that. I feel like it'd be really cool to see black and white NWO, and then the green and black DX.
Exactly, that would be amazing. So this year, talking about the Royal Rumble, we had a few announcements coming up. These aren't even that big of names for the Royal Rumble. But they announced Kofi was in the Rumble. We have Batista in the Rumble. The Miz, Biggie Langston, Xavier Woods, R-Truth, Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and I think we also had Alberto Del Rio and Ray is in it as well. Was there anybody else? I don't even know if you know the list of Royal Rumble people.
I don't know the list because I feel like it's been constantly updating through WWE social media. But if you want to talk about surprise entrances, who are the 3 people you think might be a surprise entry?
I don't think this is much of a surprise, but Jake Roberts, and then the New Age Outlaws. I don't know. Is that too easy of an answer right there?
Too easy and too lazy. But the one that I got, I think this would be a really cool one, because a lot of people, even myself included, Jake Roberts and Scott Hall. But I think it'd be really, really nice to see DDP. I think he'd be a good surprise entry, mainly because he could still wrestle. But another guy too that I think can really definitely do it. And I think I would only do this for comedy reasons. But the Hurricane, for whatever reason, I feel like, I know a lot of people always mention him and Carlito and Shelton Benjamin and MVP, but for a comedic reason, I feel like he would be a guy I would bring in. But aside from that, that's it.
The only other guy I was going to say would be Christian being back. I know he was at the Slammy Awards, right? He was talking about what did he do? I forgot what he did an award, right? Presented something with John Cena and Randy Orton. I can't remember what Christian did there, but Christian's another guy that I think will be back in the Rumble. Rob Van Dam, we can't forget about him.
Yeah.
Depending on what's going on with Triple H, maybe Triple H in the Rumble, but I don't really see that happening too much. But honestly, I think we're going to get our slew of normal people with Batista, maybe Jake Roberts. Brock Lesnar said he doesn't need to be in the Rumble, so he's not in the Rumble. So he's going up against Big Show instead.
Yep.
Does the Big Show come out in the Rumble, even though I know they've done this before where the guys have a match and then they're still in the Rumble match? Do you think that's likely to happen or not?
I think it's likely, but I don't think WWE will do that. What I do think WWE will do instead is save this Rumble more for different entries. Like last year we got the whole Bo Dallas thing. I feel like WWE might do something like that again this year, whether it's maybe Corey Graves or Sami Zayn. But there's going to be an NXT star in this Royal Rumble, and I feel like that's a good way to kind of reserve maybe Big Show just simply to verse Brock Lesnar, but have an NXT star instead.
Yeah, maybe they can do that NXT Battle Royal that they did. Was it last year? I think they did, and then the winner got to go on to. That was at before the Hall of Fame ceremony, I think, right? I can't remember how they did it last year, but if they did it like that, that would be awesome. I would love to see another NXT guy make it in. Maybe not Bo Dallas. Maybe have Sami Zayn make it into the Rumble this year. I think that would be sweet.
Yeah, and I feel like Sami Zayn would be one of those guys that would be in the same position as Maven and Bo Dallas, kind of getting that surprise win. But that's how you build a star.
Speaking of Maven, Maven still needs to get his revenge. He was never eliminated from the Royal Rumble. He went under the rope, and Undertaker beat him up and threw him through a popcorn machine. Maven still needs to come back and get his shot. What kind of gimmick would that be if Maven came back and was like, I was never eliminated from the Rumble? He could come out number 1 and then cut like a heel promo about how he was never eliminated. And then I don't know what you'd want to do with that, but I just think it would be hilarious if they would bring that storyline back from Oblivion.
Yeah, but too bad Maven, nobody even knows who he is anymore.
I think he's on Home Shopping Network or something. I don't even know what he does anymore. Maven, hit us up if you want to be on a podcast.
Hashtag OMG podcast.
Let's search him. I seriously want to get Maven on and talk about his chances in the Royal Rumble. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. We'll search him out.
You guys got to tweet him. You got to tweet him and say.
I don't know what his Twitter is, dude.
We'll figure it out. We'll put it in the description, and you got to tweet him and let him know that you guys want to see him on the OMG podcast. Everything unscripted, live. You guys got to make it happen. Show support. Use that hashtag.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Tweet him, Maven. Say, Maven, come on the OMG podcast. Let's make it happen. All right, that's about it. Raw was, that's it. Ultimate Warrior in the Hall of Fame. Let's see. We could close it out. Let's close the show out with some classic Iron Sheik tweets. You want to fill us in with some Iron Sheik tweets?
Let me get there.
All right, so Iron Sheik likes to go off on Twitter. I think this might have been during Raw, but I can't tell. He said, first one, I'll go with this first one, then you can go to the next one. Starting out with the Iron Sheik, he says, "Are you ready or go fuck yourself?" ?
Yeah. Ultimate Warrior, you go to Hall of Game sucking dick. Go fuck yourself forever. Ultimate Warrior, Hall of Fame grasshopper dick. Let's see where else.
Oh, here's a good one. Malcolm X, Iron Sheik, same thing. I don't know what the hell that means. Then there's this thing going on right now that's trending basically from that show At Midnight. Have you ever heard of that show?
I have not.
There's this show on Comedy Central called At Midnight. And they always have like these tweets, and if you tweet it out, you can get on the show or whatever. You use the hashtag. It's pretty funny. But the one going on right now is wrestling TV shows. And Iron Sheik says, wrestling TV show. So it's supposed to be funny, like, you put a wrestler's name in a pun, like CM Punk. He said Modern Heenan Family, like the show Modern Family, but he put Modern Heenan Family. So that's funny. But Iron Sheik says Chris Brown's mother is a whore. No, not mother. Chris Brown's mother. He says Chris Brown mother is a whore. Hashtag wrestling TV shows. Then he comes back with Taylor Swift giraffe tits.
I think my favorite tweet, well, it's not my favorite team, but he goes, A-Rod, new name, piece of shit Rod, or MLB, mean monkey lick balls. Like, this guy, like, I don't know what it is, but this guy's hilarious, man. Hello, at Chris Brown, you piece of shit, go fuck yourself. Like, this guy is a Twitter Hall of Famer. Like, no joke. I think, like, celebrities love him, fans love him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
all he has to do is tweet someone and say, go fuck yourself, Bubba, and, get a million retweets. So
this guy had the best Twitter. I think Ryback's right up there, too. Twitter is awesome. Make sure you follow all these wrestlers. We're going to leave you with this last one since it still is Monday night. Iron Sheik's moment of zen. I don't know. I'm stealing this from somewhere. What was this? Who has a moment of zen? That's a Daily Show, isn't it? Your moment of zen. I don't know. Here's your moment of zen. Monday, you smell worse than 50 dead dog.
Not dogs. 50 dead dog.
Quote the Iron Sheik. So every Monday when you're feeling bad, just remember, it smell worse than 50 dead dog. All right, Ango, thanks for coming out. Thanks for being an awesome host. Big announcement, though. We do want to let you know that we are going to have AJ Styles on the upcoming episode. We still have sponsors. I might have to make a bumper at the beginning of the show because I forgot to talk about this. If you do want to get in on the AJ Styles episode, we're looking for advertisers. We have advertise.tonypizzaguy.com. Can get you on that episode. We have one slot filled now, but we're looking for more. You'll be on with AJ Styles. This is no joke. We're not ribbing you. We're not making this up. We can't make this stuff up. AJ Styles is our next guest. If you want to be a guest, you can send an email to email@tonypizzaguy.com. One last thing, I can't get this out of my mind. This tweet that I just sent you, Ango.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I don't know. I can't even describe it. We'll put all these pictures in the description. I don't really have anything else to say. I think we've rambled on long enough. We've gone about an hour long. Good enough for me. Ango, you want to close us out?
Yeah, so I want to thank everybody for joining us on the OMG podcast. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below and tweet us. Let us know what you guys thought about this week's Raw. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and Tony's channel, youtube.com/Project9Gaming, youtube.com/TonyPizzaGuy. Don't miss out on those opportunities for advertising because AJ Styles is a pretty damn big deal. And and really quick, Ryan Reeves just tweeted, breaking news. He goes, internet community thinking of changing last name legally to Goldberg. That way the last 21 months would somehow make sense to me. So, I got to click retweet on that. But anyways, guys, this is Ango and TPG.